Hello there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back and welcome to 2026. And I think this can be your breakthrough year for you. In fact, that's what this podcast is all about, how to create your breakthrough year in 2026. Because as I'm recording this right now, we are winding up 2025 for me. I just came back from a week off in Florida with my daughter. My husband stayed home this time with all of our 5 rescue animals, and we have a great pet sitter. And at first she wasn't available, so I booked tickets for my daughter and I because I just didn't want to find a new pet sitter for the holiday season. So it's just easier for where we were right now for my husband to stay home. So, anyways, my daughter and I, we went to Florida and we had a great time. I took a week off. I scheduled out all my social media posts. So I barely was on Instagram. That was a nice break, a little refresher, scheduled out my emails. Really, I didn't work at all. I popped in one morning to just check emails and delete a bunch, but that was about it. So I'm coming back feeling really refreshed. We had some great days to a museum in Miami one day. It was an interactive art museum, and Kaylee got to go with her cousin. We had lots of family meals and walks and Christmas dinner and paddleboarding and lots of Florida adventures. We had a really great time. And I had some time to reflect on the year for myself and just think of all that I created this year in the business and what I want to create next year in the business. And it was really fulfilling for me. I just thought about all the clients I worked with, all the results they achieved. I wrote down those that are hit their first 6-figure year or a repeat 6-figure year, those that were close in the 90,000 for the year in their revenue. And there was 7 clients. And I'm so happy, meaning that I've helped people bring in $700,000. And with all my other clients, that means that Ignite Your Wellness Business has helped people bring in over $1 million of wellness work. And what a ripple effect that has. People helping people, find, improve their health so they can show up more productively in their jobs and maybe get their raises for themselves, or just feeling better in their body and their energy so they're more present as parents or more present in relationships, helping people with their relationships, whether it's with partners or with other family members. I have clients that help people with career, so finding jobs, navigating promotions. I have clients that help people in the spiritual work, so feeling more connected to their purpose and their life purpose and fulfilling their own purposes. So just such a ripple effect created from this, which makes me so excited for next year and what I want to create for next year, how I can make things better for my clients as I personally help more clients this year. I mean, 2025 was a breakthrough year for myself because my revenue was the highest it's ever been, solid into the multiple 6 figures. And that means I am helping more people all at one time. And it was a breakthrough year, especially the second half of the year, where I really have never helped that many people at one time. I have an amazing VA. She works for me about 15 hours a week. And the 2026, I am going to increase her hours, refine SOP so my clients feel more supported. And because I am helping more people, I'm not bogged down by a lot of client support requests so I can focus on helping them more with the strategy and the mindset coaching. So it is a shift for me in a new way, new problems to solve, which is really amazing. And I'm actually very grateful for. And so it got me thinking, what would a breakthrough year for you look like? Maybe it's finally hitting your first 6-figure a year. Maybe it's working 30 hours a week instead of 50 while making more money. Maybe it's having a wait list of dream clients instead of constantly hustling for your next session. Maybe it's launching that online program you're thinking about for years, or just getting clients in it finally and taking pressure off your body, or giving yourself some location freedom. So, like last summer in 2025, I was in Florida for almost 2 weeks and worked from Florida and had client calls there. And that was really lovely. This year, when I was in Florida over this holiday break, I signed a new client and brought in a paying full client, which is really wonderful to see. And I felt so grateful for during the holidays. And I'm really looking forward to working with this client. So, whatever it is, take a moment here and just imagine that for yourself. I know you want it and I know you're ready for it. But here's what no one tells you about breakthrough years: they don't happen just because you finally figure out the exact perfect strategy. Because in business, if there's anything I learned after being in a lot of masterminds, working with a lot of coaches, having a lot of entrepreneur friends, and seeing colleagues in these containers, is that there's no one right strategy. And they don't happen because you consume more free content. That's what I see, that the entrepreneurs that are hitting their breakthrough years and progressing forward, they are investing in containers. And they definitely don't happen because you manifest harder. You do want to manifest and feel and have energy shifts in your body, but it is the combination of feeling it, shifting the energy, manifesting and believing in that, and having the strategy too. Breakthrough years happen when you make one critical decision. You decide to invest in expert guidance, and you decide to trust your intuition throughout the process as well. It is that powerful combination. So it's not expert guidance or intuition, it's both at the same time. Because here's what I've learned after coaching lots and lots of wellness entrepreneurs, having lots of conversations with wellness practitioners online, and growing two businesses, one to six figures and one to multiple six figures. So, from myself included, the ones who actually have breakthroughs aren't the ones with the most certifications. They're not the ones that know the most either. They're the ones who are willing to follow a system while still honoring what their gut is telling them to. So it doesn't mean being perfectly following that system perfectly or exactly. It's using it as a guideline, a roadmap, and then your intuition as the compass. And I know some of you are thinking, but wait, if I hire a coach and follow their system, won't I lose my authenticity? Won't I just become a copy of every other wellness practitioner online? And that's what we're going to unpack today, because the path to your breakthrough year requires you to understand something that sounds contradictory, but is actually sometimes a hidden secret. You need structure to set your intuition free, because structure provides safety and sufficiency. And for you, if you have a proven system that you trust, you have a deep belief in there. And that also allows you to, with that safety and that sufficiency, it gives you the confidence to set your intuition free and begin to trust your creativity and create more belief in yourself and try things out and know that they might fail, but you won't make it. So, because that's part of the process, right? There's some things that are failures to get to the thing that works. But you know that when you do, if your plan takes longer than you'd hope for, if you do fail, it doesn't mean that you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. It just means that you're taking steps. I mean, last year I had a goal actually, and I was thinking about this, and I think I set this revenue goal working the amount of hours I worked with the structure in my business that I now have. I think I set this goal 4 or 5 years ago. And imagine if I quit at year 3 and I said, "Oh, I'm not cut out to do this," or I'm taking too long. Something must be wrong with me, wrong with my business. No, it's none of those things. It just means that my nervous system wasn't ready for that goal at that time. And I had to do a lot of work with counselors. I've hired therapists, I've hired one-to-one coaches, been in masterminds. I needed to do my own inner work as well as continue to test strategies that work for me, that I felt comfortable doing, that felt right to finally get me here. Because also, as you know, a huge priority for me is doing this in a sustainable way so I can take holiday breaks and enjoy holiday time with my family, for example, or have my weekends free. I mean, I just did a reel on this, and I really like some of Alex Hormozi's stuff. If you haven't heard of him, you can go check it out. He actually gives a ton of free value online, and it's really good. I have all his books that he's created so far, and actually have paid for one of his high ticket workshops, and it's really good information. Some of it is a little broy style for me, or too gimmicky sometimes for me, but really, if you just grab one, he says grab one idea and then get off the freeway and exit and go do the work. And so I do believe in that. But one of his reels that he had recently was saying how, he gets up at 4 a.m. or works most weekends, and, the early bird gets the worm type of thing. And if you want to be a winner, then you need kind of I don't want to paraphrase him incorrectly, so you can go check it out for yourself. But my takeaway from it was, the work hard, mentality, which I do believe in. You do have to work hard. Entrepreneurship is not easy, right? If it was easy, everyone would have six-figure, multiple six-figure, million-dollar businesses. But it does require growth edges and inner works and doing strategies that sometimes feel uncomfortable, like marketing and showing up on social media platforms and selling and things like that. That does require growth edges and discomfort. And you do have to show up consistently in your business. You do have to have a work ethic. So I do believe with all of that, but he doesn't have children. So, and he's not a mom. So I think there's some differences where if he was a dad, that maybe some of his messaging or some of his strategy might be a little bit different. So what I'm saying is, yes, maybe I could have grown faster. I don't know, because sometimes I do 100% believe, because I found this to be for myself true, is that when I was working, 60 hours a week or more, I was actually making a lot less. And because I'm more efficient, because my nervous system is different and I can show up differently and bolder, and I now have years of practice with my messaging, and my messaging is better and my content's better, I make more money in less time. I also help my clients more efficiently than I have in the past. So my pricing reflects that differently too. So we all grow in different ways. So the amount of hours that you're showing up to your business more does not always equate to more revenue. However, when you are efficient and you are optimized and maximized and you are making good money and you do show up more, that can lead to more revenue too, right? So it's not a black or white thing. So yes, maybe if I had worked more weekends or evenings, I could have made a little bit more money. Now, if I had squeaked it out, because I can burn myself out quite easily. Let's say I made 25,000 or $50,000 more in revenue last year because I worked more evenings, more weekends, and I missed those moments with my daughter. I would not consider myself winning, because I might have showed up to client calls not as energized, not as focused. Maybe I would have been tired or more drained. Especially, I would maybe start to resent my business if I was missing those moments with my daughter, or feeling like I couldn't choose to take off for a holiday week with my daughter and my husband because I had to work, or I was telling myself I had to work. I would not feel like I was winning in those scenarios. So that's where my intuition comes in. For example, I can follow some of Alex Hormozi's ideas, but I don't have to follow everything to a T. I can actually disagree with some things he says. But there are, for example, right now I have Boxer Access with my coach, who I've been in her mastermind now for, I think I'm going on my fourth year. Or this might be the third year. I don't remember. But a while, long enough. She knows me, she knows my business. And at one point, when I paid for her container for a couple of years, I paid $15,000 for 1 year. And when she would give me coaching, I'm like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to implement it, because that's what I'm paying for. Even though it's uncomfortable, I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to stretch myself. But at the same time, before I do that, I check in with myself and I see, okay, what does my intuition say about this? Is this, maybe does it feel uncomfortable because it's a growth edge? Or is it not the right strategy for me and I need to talk with her more about it and figure out something that feels more aligned? But it has been the coaching that I've done in numerous containers and with numerous coaches that has gotten me to that break year. So if you ended 2025 and you felt disappointed, it's okay. I've had years, like I said, it took me 5 years to hit that goal. And I saw progress during the other years. It doesn't mean that I wasn't seeing any improvement, but it wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. And now I've set another goal. So will I hit that next year? I'm not sure. I'm going to continue working towards it till I hit it. And if you felt disappointment, just know it's probably because you didn't work hard enough. I know a lot of you wellness practitioners have really good work ethic. You're teaching 15 classes a week. You're stacking your back-to-back patients and clients. You're showing up. You're trying new things. And if you're still not where you want to be, this message is for you. The mindset required for 2026 to be your breakthrough year is not, I can figure this out myself all alone. The mindset required for a breakthrough year is, I'm willing to invest in proven guidance while trusting myself through the process. And what that proven guidance looks like, the help, it could be a group container, it could be one-to-one, it could be a program, it could be a therapist, it could be a counselor, not even business related. But for you, you have to figure out what the bottleneck is, what the problem or the sticking point is that's actually causing the block for you to not hit your breakthrough year, and trust your intuition in what comes up there, and then find a program or someone to help you get through that. That's literally what I do year after year after year. And it's what I help my clients do. The ones that come to me with that tell me, and I often help them figure this out on a consult, is from what I see, here's what you're trying, here's why it's not working, here's what you need, here's the solution. The ones that go in on that solution or tell me, hey, Allison, I've tried XYZ, they're still a little fearful because they probably invested in other coaches and programs in the past, but haven't gotten where they wanted to go, but have this desire and trust within themselves to figure it out, but need help. Those are the ones that do really well. So block number one is often a DIY trap. You think you should be able to figure out yourself because you have multiple certifications. Maybe you have a doctorate degree, a master's degree. You're smart. You've been a practitioner for multiple years, and you don't want to pay someone to tell you what to do. So you piece together free content, watch YouTube tutorials, download lead magnets. You have 47 tabs open and a folder full of PDFs that you never implemented. Or you bought low ticket programs and you implement some of it, but you're still stuck. That's because you haven't had someone actually look at your business and give you your unique strategy and listen to your personal blocks as well to help guide you on the mindset and strategy that you really need in your business. So then you can trust your intuition more. Another block I see is when I'm ready myth. You tell yourself, I'll invest in another program when I'm making more money, or I'll hire a coach when I have a bigger audience, or I'll join that mastermind when I feel more confident. But here's the truth. And I have done this time and time again. You have to invest to get to that next level. You have to invest first. Often when it feels really uncomfortable, the investment comes before you feel ready, not after. And that's literally how the breakthroughs work. And I tell you, I've made investments because as you heard me say on the podcast before, is that when you're starting a business, you have to learn how to run a business. Like in school, they might teach you some things. In a certification, they're teaching you some foundational things, but often it's not enough to get you to that six-figure year or have that livable revenue that you can actually live on. So in the beginning of my business, I didn't know this, right? And as I mentioned before, I was fired from my job. I had very little savings. I wasn't planning on starting a business, but I felt the burning desire to do it because I was getting requests from past patients that had worked with me. And I didn't want to get stuck in another mill scenario, physical therapy or massage clinic where I was just doing back to back. I didn't have control over my schedule, was burnout, not working with people the way that I really wanted to. And so I just took a leap of faith and started my business. I don't recommend doing it that way because yes, I was profitable my first year. I think my first year in business, I hit $48,000 in revenue. Most of it was a good percentage of it was from teaching classes, and more of it was from patients. But we live in San Diego. I had to put the majority of that money back into paying the bills. And so to learn all the skills I needed to learn for my business, I had to invest in masterminds, often scrambling or putting them on credit cards. So if you can save to start your business or have a job that actually pays your personal bills, so then you can reinvest your business revenue back into the business to learn how to run it to get you to six figures and then multiple six figures, because then you'll be earning more revenue where you can, like now I do pay for my investments in cash and I pay for my bills. You will get to that point, but you do have to invest, and it is tricky, right? If you're not, my husband always says he's not as risk tolerant as I am because I did put investments on credit cards, or during the pandemic, I took out low interest loans to pay for some investments, which I've paid off completely. And then now I'm still paying down some, but I'm okay with that because now I have a business that I love. It is paying the bills and more. And I know I trust myself that I will pay it down. Now, sometimes I do have to get coaching on it because I have a crazy mind and I don't like carrying debt, but I have my student loan debt and we're in Southern California. So those are the choices that I'm making right now, where we could take equity in our house and move to North Carolina or somewhere, there's some beautiful other places in the United States that, for example, that we could pay for our house outright with equity and have a very no mortgage and just paying taxes. But my daughter loves her school and her friends, and we love our area. So we're staying here. And so I'm choosing to be okay with this for now. But you might not have that same risk tolerance as me. So you have to figure it out how to make an investment work to get you the skills, the knowledge that you need, or help you with your nervous system so that you have capacity to show up to your business differently. And get to that breakthrough year. It is the hard truth. It's not comfortable, but if you're waiting till you're ready, that's often where you are just stuck. You're just repeating the same year of having back to back to back to back patients, or you're teaching a lot of classes, or you're stuck in a job and only seeing clients here or there and not, breaking through the 1 to 2K revenue mark or the 3 to 5K revenue mark. It's often where people stay stuck. Block number 3 is the intuition paralysis. This is a sneaky one. You want to follow your intuition. You don't want to become like another cookie cutter online wellness coach that's doing everything else that everyone else is doing. So you wait, you hesitate, you second guess every strategy. You think, is this really me, or am I just copying what someone else is doing? And you really just want to trust your intuition. Because of this, your intuition becomes an excuse for inaction instead of a guide for aligned action. And here's what actually true. Your intuition is incredible, but sometimes it's hard to discern whether your intuition is in alignment with helping you through a growth edge, which actually feels uncomfortable, or if you are thinking it's intuition, but it's actually just your nervous system trying to keep you safe in what it knows and what is familiar. So stepping outside of that feels uncomfortable. And so you think it's the wrong action. So you say, oh, my intuition says, no, I shouldn't do this because it doesn't feel good. But it's actually not your intuition, it's your nervous system. You see the difference? It's hard to discern that on your own if you don't have a coach or a counselor or a therapist to help you objectively see what's going on. And here's the truth. If your intuition knew how to build you a 6-figure online wellness business, you would have it right now. If you knew how to grow your Instagram or show up consistently on there, you would be doing that right now. And that's why you do need both. And this isn't a plug to just join my program. Like I said, it might be what that investment that you need to make might be a counselor or a therapist to help process through trauma or develop a capacity of confidence and trust within and belief within yourself that you can do this. It might be another program entirely. It might be mine. I'm here for you if it is me. But the point of this podcast is more to just point out when you are trusting your intuition, but it might not be your intuition, it might be your nervous system trying to keep you safe, or you're relying on your intuition, but it doesn't know the strategy to get you beyond where you are now, and how combining your intuition with someone that is further ahead might be, or the expert in where you are stuck, having that expert guidance to show you the proven path might be the answer that you really need. Here are 3 areas where I see, or specific scenarios where I really see entrepreneurs slowing themselves down a lot. Number 1 is the researcher that is forever researching. Now, I am a research junkie. I find myself here a lot, and this is my growth edge where sometimes I've had to invest, where I've had to push myself to invest, or I've gotten coaching in a container and I've had to push myself to do the coaching instead of just investing in or researching and consuming. So, for example, you've been researching how to build an online program for 18 months. You know all the terminology, you understand all the concepts, you know all the different types of programs, the memberships, the online programs, the do it yourself, the coaching with in a group container, but you haven't actually built anything because you keep thinking I need to learn more first. The truth is you don't need more information, you need implementation support. You need someone to say, stop researching and start building, get out there and get messy and try it out and fail, and learn from that and keep going. Another scenario I see is the investment avoider. Every time you see a program that could help you, you find a reason it won't work, or you try to find, or the investment feels too high. So you try to find another program that's like that, but it's not exactly the right program. And so you don't exactly get the right result. I've had clients come to me on consult calls where they've felt scared to invest with me. And truthfully, sometimes I, as you know, as you hear on the podcast, I'm always working on my consultation skills. So there's been times where maybe I've jumped off a consultation call too quickly because I haven't wanted to push them. And that was a disservice to them because then they, are too scared to invest with me. I haven't given them the confidence, the safety to think that my program is worth the investment. So they go and invest in a program that they think will get them the results that they'll get in my container because it's cheaper. And then they end up coming back to me like a year or so later and saying, okay, I'm actually ready to invest with you. I didn't get quite the results I wanted in this other program. A lot of them do get benefits from the other programs, not that they're a complete waste, but it's just not exactly where they want to be. They want to be further along. So they come back and, they're glad that they finally invest with me. And, they say, okay, yeah, this is actually what I need. So it's annoying when you're avoiding investing because it really does feel uncomfortable. And it's also trusting your intuition on how to know when you're ready or if you're just avoiding. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so here's some breakthrough mindsets. There's three essential components I'm going to tell you about today. Component number one is strategic investment. It's finding that problem that is the bottleneck in your business right now, whether it's your nervous system or not having the right strategy that's unique to you, that's an alignment for where you want to go and what is actually happening in your business right now, meaning your audience size, your goals, the revenue that you want to hit, the time that you have to work, all these pieces of the puzzle. You just haven't have the right strategy to make it work for you yet, or there might be some nervous system blocks, right? And so what you want to figure out is that strategic investment that will solve the biggest problem that you have in your business right now, or the problem that's causing that bottleneck. So that's number one, is figuring that out. Number two is the intuitive application. This is where most wellness entrepreneurs get confused. They think following a system means copying it exactly, doing everything the coach says without question, abandoning their own wisdom. And that's not how it works, right? As I said, like with my coaches, I either am going to lean into discomfort and implement after I've checked in with my intuition, being like, okay, for where I am, does this feel right? Is this right? And if I don't feel that it's right, I'm going to bring it back for more coaching and say, hey, this is why it's not feeling right for me right now. And I've had coaches say, actually, you're right. Lean into that for yourself. So for example, like one of my coaches, one of the strategies she really teaches is free webinars. And I do free webinars. However, I've found that charging a $7 webinar or workshop, it just works better for me. I can be on the workshop for 2 hours and I can give value. I don't like to just only give like a little taster and there's no real value because it's free and then they have to join my program to get anything. I don't want anyone to show up for my workshops or webinars and not leave with tangible takeaways that's going to get them a small win or even a larger win right now. Yes, I do want them to work with me in my bigger containers, but I do want their time for showing up to anything that I teach valuable right then. So charging a little bit and staying with them longer so I can be sure that they do get those wins and takeaways. It's really important to me. I show up in more alignment and confident doing that. It's different than her webinar strategy. But I took the risk and, what kind of went rogue from her one time and did it. And my show up rate was out of the park. My conversion out of the park. It just blew it out of the water, where so much so where she was like, actually that's the right strategy for you. And now she's behind that for me. But I had to take a little risk. I'm still in her container and I still get coaching on it. Like, okay, is this still the right strategy for me? So that's an example of how you can trust your intuition, but still use the coaching. And she helps me so much with the titles of my webinars, the 3 steps I'm teaching in there. So much of that helps with the conversion. So I'm still getting a lot of coaching and guidance from her in that strategy that is actually my strategy. So you want to take a framework and apply it through your lens, your voice, your values, your specific clients, the results you want to get for them. Your intuition doesn't have to fight a system. It guides you how to apply the system. There's a difference. And then another mindset is having coached implementation. This is a game changer. This is often why practitioners get stuck and breakthrough years don't happen. It's moving from that DIY free content to having a coach lay out a system or a proven strategy. But most importantly, if you're not following the strategy that even you feel is in alignment, or you're trying a strategy and it's not working, you have a coach there to say, okay, the strategy is solid, but your messaging is off here. Here's how to adjust. That's pretty much what I do on all my coaching calls is, I will guide my clients initially right from the get-go, whether they're working with me in a group program or one-to-one, on their unique strategy. But if, as they're implementing the strategy, or if they're slow to implement the strategy, then I'm either working on nervous system or mindset to understand the blocks so they can show up and implement the strategy, or we're refining the strategy. So refining the messaging, or refining the program, or refining the type of marketing. So sometimes clients come to me and think that they don't want to be on Instagram, that they only want to do referrals and networking and that sort of thing. And then they get out there and they realize after they've gotten their confidence, like with people and marketing, in person, they're like, actually, now I'm ready to bring on Instagram. So we refine the marketing strategy. So or they start to abandon a strategy that was working, meaning they have the marketing, the messaging, they have the program, but are not seeing results fast enough. So they think abandoning everything. A coach will tell you, don't give up on this, keep going. You're actually closer to a breakthrough than you think. I can't tell you the number of clients that come to me on a consult call, say they've tried so many things, and any of those things could have worked. They just didn't stick to any one thing long enough to actually see it through. And that quitting a lot is actually what slows them down. And so when you have the guidance and your intuition, that's when they really work together beautifully to keep you going and move you through those stuck points. So here's some implementation strategies to help you with your breakthrough year. Number one, the 3-question investment filter. Before you invest in any coaching program, you can ask yourself these questions. As I mentioned before, it's knowing the problem that you need solved. So what is the specific problem that you want solved? And is this the container, or what is the program or the support that will help to solve it? Don't just say, I want to grow my business and I'm going to invest in anyone to help grow the business. It's too vague. Specific sounds like, I need to learn how to create a high ticket wellness offer that's online that combines ethically my physical therapy knowledge and license and my yoga certifications. And then I need to help creating that, and I need help learning how to sell that. Or I need a proven system for using Instagram to generate consultation requests instead of hoping people will find me. I already have the program. I already have sold in person through workshops, but now I want to figure out Instagram specifically. Look how specific that is. Or I need to know how to run a workshop that will convert attendees into paying wellness clients. And I want to run workshops that are both online and person. And I want someone that can help me with that. So get clear on the specific problem first. Question number 2, does this coach's approach align with my values? This is where your intuition comes in. As I said before, Alex Hormozi, some of his stuff doesn't align with my values. Even though he gives a ton of great information, not all of it applies to me for a few reasons. But if I am going to invest in some of his work, so for example, I invested in a workshop of his, and I plan to invest in another workshop of his because I wanted some specific marketing help and ideas. And so it was for a very specific problem that I invested in that specific workshop. And so for you, it's asking yourself, do you resonate with how they show up? Do their clients' results match what you want? Does their teaching style work for your learning style? I'll give you another example. If you value simplicity and sustainability and you get overwhelmed easily with tech, then a coach that's teaching you to build complex funnels with a lot of automations and Facebook ads, your intuition is going to fight that. It might not be the strategy for you. I've had clients come to me and they've invested in programs that were the way to sell the program was completely through ads, and there was no organic marketing strategies taught, and they got overwhelmed by tech easily, had no plans to run ads, didn't have the budget or revenue to run ads and pay for the ads, and so it wasn't a right fit for them. So they invested in a program that wasn't the right fit, and then they came to me and I helped them organically to sell their program and make more money, get more confidence, understand tech more, and then they're ready to invest in ads. Another question to ask yourself is, am I ready to implement within 30 days? This is an honesty check. If you're about to invest, but you don't know if you'll actually have the time to implement, this can go either way. Number one, it's figuring out honestly if you have the time. If you're going through a major life circumstance, as you know, my brother passed away during the time when I was grieving him, not the time to invest unless this is what I did invest in, is a therapist to help me through the grieving process. And I also invested in some spiritual coaches that helped me connect with my brother in different ways. So I didn't invest in business. I invested in more personal side during that time. Another time where I invested more of a personal time instead of business time was when I was going through cancer. I actually invested in both because I wanted to learn sustainability, to grow my business more sustainably, so it wouldn't be at the cost of my health, and I would have time for my family and all my doctor's appointments. So I did invest in my business there. But I also consciously made the decision to also invest in health and wellness practitioners to help me through that time as well. So I did both. So you need to check in with yourself with the time, because also a good investment might be a coach that can help you create more time. I, for example, my client Julie, when she first came to me, she wanted to retire in a few years, and she was a coach, and she had tried a lot of things, and she felt like she wasn't creating the profit that she wanted, or she wanted to spend more time with her grandkids as well, and then put more into savings so she could retire. So what we worked on was her own personal strategy, using everything that she had invested in the past as some stepping stones. And then we made it unique for her, where she had her proven strategy. She has a strong intuition to know what would align for her. And she greatly reduced her working hours. She says, I doubled my revenue and cut the time I was working in half. She's on the podcast. You can head back and listen to it. I think it's in the 200s or the late 100 episodes, but she's there, and she was actually on twice. So you can hear, she, one time she talks more about her workshop that she did specifically. And then another time she talks about how she finally hit her revenue goal, hit a 10K month. Her revenue goal was 8K, and she was working way less hours. So a lot of times the coach that you can invest with can help you create more time. And so you need to know, is this the right time for me to invest to learn how to be more efficient with my time? Or is it a time where I actually need to really focus on your personal health or a personal life circumstance? But only you can decide that. But checking in with yourself to determine why is really important, so that you know when is a good time to invest and what you might want to invest in. So there's some questions to determine your investment and some things to consider to help you work through a bottleneck or a plateau so you can have your breakthrough year. And of course, depending on when this episode is released, you can get into the Revenue Shift workshop, which will help you to do this. And of course, the 100K blueprint, I can help you through this 100%, or working with me one-to-one. And if you want to know what your next best step is, just book a consult call and I'll help you figure out what that bottleneck is and the problem that really, if you solve this problem, can help you launch your business and have that breakthrough year. Because I want 2026 to be your biggest year in a sustainable way. All right, so that's what I've got, a little longer episode today, but I hope you enjoyed it and it really inspired you to have your breakthrough year and create the business that you love and want to work in, and for many years to come. All right, I will see you next week. Bye for now.
This episode is brought to you by Jane, a practice management software and EMR designed for wellness practitioners who value structure, simplicity, and calm growth. If you're a skilled wellness practitioner who's tired of tech overwhelm and administrative chaos, Jane understands. Your expertise should be focused on client transformation, not wrestling with software. Jane provides the structure and systems you need to run a sustainable practice. With Jane's streamlined online booking, your clients can easily schedule at times that work for them. With smart features like waitlist notifications, those last-minute cancellations become opportunities, not losses. It's a simple way to maintain consistent revenue without the constant hustle of filling your calendar. During sessions, Jane's AI-powered documentation helps you capture important notes, efficiently allowing you to stay present and focused on delivering exceptional care. After appointments, you can end on a healing note rather than a transactional one by charging cards on file and handling rebooking before the client leaves, creating the organized, professional experience your business deserves. To discover how Jane can help you build a more structured, scalable wellness practice that works even when you're offline, resting, use the link in the show notes. And especially for you, Ignite Your Wellness Business listeners, when you're ready to implement the simple system that supports your growth, use code IGNITE1M. So that's IGNITE1MO to get your first month complimentary. That code will also be in the show notes.